like to pitch a scenario towards your way so you get a feel for what I'm talking about. So I'm sure you've all heard of the Sandy Hook scenario. So imagine you're at this school where a borderline psychopath comes in and kills 26 people, 20 of which are first graders or kindergartners, and the other 6 were staff. That's a little intense to me. Another scenario, look at the Colorado gunman that went to the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises and killed 12 people, 20 injured. And then you look at Columbine, the classic school shooting, where 15 were dead, including the 2 shooters. And really, all these are problems, and all these could get or will get controlled with the use of gun control. And that's what I'm debating right here and persuading you. Why we need gun control? Because gun laws and giving background checks to those that want to buy guns will really reduce the amount of psychopaths and remove the amount of returning felons and gun felons from buying a gun and convicting more crimes against us being the public. And also, another gun law that we need is a course on how to use a firearm properly. Now, I know that we have these for conceal and carry licenses, and I know that we do a decent job on this, but it can always be improved, and it will cut down on the tragedies if we do this. So like I said, it will save lives. We need to save lives. I mean, what other purpose beyond living a good life are our laws in place for? And just something to think about. So it will cut down on public shootings, reduce the domestic violence. That's something we don't often think about when it's only in groups of one and the stuff that doesn't really make the news as much. But domestic violence is a huge thing when it comes to gun control laws. And control safety. So the public can have a peace of mind knowing that laws are in place, stopping those convicted felons from getting guns, and from those convicted felons from having guns around our friends and family. So that leads me to the satisfaction and the plan that we should go about in order to put these gun laws in place. So 1, require background checks, like I said. So no felons, nobody that's already committed rape, or nobody that's already been convicted of assault, whether gun or without gun. If they're violent by nature, I don't personally want them with a gun, and we as a country do not need those people to have guns. Also, a background check will stop those that are mentally unstable and those that are mentally unsuited for carrying a firearm from purchasing a firearm and having a carry and conceal license. Like we see in Sandy Hook, although it wasn't totally proven, the guy was insane that committed the shooting. And if people like that are kept from having guns, then we can control how many people are killed in this situation, which should be 0. And another plan that we could do to put in gun control laws is a rigorous training method and certification courses. We need shooting and aiming courses so that people are confident to use a gun and the proper time when to use a gun. And speaking of proper time, we should have classes and rigorous training on the proper discernment of when and where to use a gun, and on what kind of threats and what kind of threatening situations we should be able to use a gun, and when we should use a gun versus not use a gun. Because we don't want people killing other people for reasons that really should never have arisen in the first place. And also, these rigorous training and certification courses will keep those that aren't mentally prepared from buying a firearm. If someone isn't mentally prepared to use a firearm, then they're probably not supposed to be put in one of those situations where they could take another man's life. So visualization, the benefits that we're going to reap from putting these gun control laws in place will save lives, first and foremost, and I don't have to reiterate that again. We'll cut down on the TV tragedies, so we'll cut down on the Columbine stories and the Colorado gunman stories, Sandy Hook Elementary. And really, if we don't have guns to sell to the public like that, then we don't have any problems to be dealing with. And number 3, we will feel more safe. Will criminals still get guns? Yes. And that's really the situation with any prohibition or any law that we see with drugs or alcohol. It's still going to get from point A to point B. But are the people that are involved in these school shootings or these mass movie theater shootings really criminals by nature, or are they just unsuitable to be having a firearm? I guess is what I'm trying to say. So will gun control still be effective in that sense, where they keep the people that are unsuited from even carrying a gun in the first place? Yes. And that's why we need to put these gun control laws in place. So action, what could you do to help the situation? Well, you can go and support your politician that supports gun control and supports administering a background check and taking away certain rights that gun rights activists have already put in place. So another thing of action that you can do for yourself, think for yourself about what laws you want in place and who you want to have a gun around you and your family. Thank you.